have next? You know who we have next? If you kick us hard enough, all of us are sopranos. That's right, in the right place. Stan Fefferman. Everybody knows Stan, and if you don't, then you should.
Soon will.
Stan Fefferman, everybody, and he even brought his own stand. That's how much he cares about you.
My posture. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here. And do you have anything else to say about me, or?
Yeah, just
is this it?
Just to say that you should tell them about your new book.
Okay.
Okay. You should tell them because you know more about it because it's your book.
Well, nobody else knows about it because it's not out yet. But it looks like that. I made sort of a fake copy.
It's very clever, actually.
It's coming out in a couple of weeks. And anyways, thank you, Hotzi, for hosting us here tonight. And thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Just move it a bit closer. Thank you, Tom, for your leadership, in this case, in the Toronto worldwide cosmic folk arts community. And I think by the power... He disappeared. By the power of the butterfly effect, which I know you believe in.
I do.
I think what we're doing here is going to vibrate and resonate around the entire globe.
Yeah.
At least that's my hope. And I know it's your intention.
It's already happening.
So there you go. It's like it's done. We don't even have to talk about it anymore. So back to my book. Oh, thanks. Yeah, there's not a commercial bone in my body, by the way. Because I've been an academic all my life and I never really had to work for a living. And now that I'm an author, apparently I have to become a salesman and sell my book. So this is kind of getting the jump on that. It's called Home Was Elsewhere, and it's being published by Quattro Books, and it'll be out in a couple of weeks, near my birthday. And the woman who gave birth to me, my mother, I wish I had a poem that I could read that I've written about her. I had one, a really, really nice one, and I lost it. And I've never been able to remember it or find it or so on and so forth. However, as a consolation, and I don't really believe in consolations, I have a poem that I'll read to you called No Consolation. However, the consolation is that she's in a lot of my poems, whether she likes it or not, and whether I like it or not, because she's my mother. And she's the woman, the first woman in my life. The first of many, by the way. I'm either proud or ashamed to say, it depends how you look at it, but enough. And the other thing I want to say about this first poem that I'm going to read is that my mother raised me in a good Jewish home. And here I am reading a poem in honor of her, in which I see myself in a Buddhist retreat, worshipping a kind of a red-skinned, many-armed deity covered in snakes, and I don't think that made her very happy. Nonetheless, she's in it. And here's how it goes. It's called In the Lull of the Wind, I Think of Her. Fourth night of the waxing moon, I see it as my lady's neck ornament. The wind is weathered, tough and gnarled as a ponderosa root ripped from rock. It smashes this meditation hut that shudders like a heart waiting and attentive. It is that my heart listens for in the lull of the wind. And I think of her. 10th night of the waxing moon, the poplar grove holds naked branches above the snow, and I think of her. Beyond there, one star, two owls hoot, a breeze soughs through the boughs of ponderosa, and I think of her. There is no payoff, just one blessed thing after another. Open the cabin door, heat and the smell of food. I think of her. So this next poem is about something that happened on the 401 as I was driving to Montreal to visit my parents. And the story connected to it is very short. The poem is even shorter than the introduction, by the way. My mother kept this poem on a notice board in the breakfast nook of her house for about 40 years. I wrote it a long time ago. And I never asked her why she kept this particular poem, which is about an insect. Nevertheless, she did. And it's called A Black Butterfly. A black butterfly, free from attachment to family and friends, crossed the path of my 60-mile-an-hour automobile and instantly gave up its life. Yeah, I always wanted to be that way, actually, but you know, I'm getting on, but I still am not ready just to let go that quickly. But it's something to be wished, don't you think? Just boom, you're gone. Just like you came here, boom, and then you did your thing, boom, and then boom, you're gone. And there's room for more of something else. Anyhow, so the next poem, it's the last one that my mother's in. It's in it because she had many surgeries, even though the poem is about a woman that I was making plans with at a much later stage in my life. And she had this habit of, when she was preparing food, of cutting herself with a sharp knife and bleeding all over the kitchen. And my brother and my sister and I, and sometimes my father, if he was there, we'd run, you know, to the medicine chest to get the Band-Aids and the mercurochrome and the iodine and all the things we used as disinfectants in those days. Anyway, she's in this, and it's called Her Scars. This woman wears wounds, signatures of scalpel on breast, neck, and along the leg. This woman was captured, racked, broken-backed over necessity's edge. Still she comes, soft as cat. Terrible her attack. Her scars are smiles of tigress. Yeah. I forgot to tell you that is the idea that stripes could be the smiles of a tigress is an Asian visual tradition. Okay. I've been married 3 times. This is about the other women in my life now besides my mother. I've been married 3 times. The first 2 took up about 20 years of my life. And from them I got my 2 children. And this latest marriage is going on 30 years now, and I think we have a chance. Maybe, huh? She's filming me now, so... Anyways, the title of the poem is What Finally Made It Work, and it has nothing to do with my wife. But it's a poem, so it could. What finally made it work was the thought that you were the wife of someone else, the wife of an important man who was breaking your heart with someone else the way my wife was breaking my heart by falling in love with someone else, also an important man who also wanted to leave his wife and finally make it work with someone else. What finally made it work was the thought that I was an important man, and you were the wife of someone else, and I was that someone else. And you were my wife sleeping with someone else, and I was that someone else. That way I could make it work, that my wife was sleeping with someone else. What finally made it work was the thought that I was sleeping with someone else. And you were that someone else, a human being naked like myself, except for your blouse, as we held each other and rocked. And what finally made it work was the thought that I was just someone else who was just falling in love with you. Applause at last. I love it. More. Thank you.
You just didn't want to miss anything, Stan.
No, that's good. I appreciate your attention. All the more. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad you're having a good time. Because I only do this for laughs. I'm not serious about any of this. Because as I told you, I don't need the money. And you're off the hook, Tom. Okay. So here's sort of more good news. It doesn't really matter that much if your relationship works or doesn't work. I mean, the thing that really matters is if you'll agree, if it wakes you up, right? Boom. So this one is called No Consolation. There are still wild horses in Colorado with shaggy coats the color of earth. And there are still hairy lavender flowers with hearts of gold closed against the rain. Pulsatilda. You are still in Colorado, probably trying too hard and crying, like the day I hugged you and said, it's like hugging the whole earth. Our love affair did not go well. We could not console each other, Janet. Tonight, I'm hugging myself in a car in Caledon, Ontario, watching the stars, watching the milkweed sway in the half moonlight, letting the wind soothe me. There is no consolation, Janet, not even hugging the whole earth. It's getting early now, my cigarette is finished, the birds are beginning to cheer themselves up. I'm going to get some sleep. Good morning, Janet. I like music, and I've listened to a lot of music, and I write about music sometimes. And this next poem it comes out of my love of music. It's called Intermezzo, The Garden of Joys and Sorrows. And there was one other thing I wanted to say. It doesn't matter. Here it is. In Sofia Gubaidulina's trio, The Garden of Joys and Sorrows, the players spin solo threads, the flute lyrical in a pastoral way, but insistent and insinuating, the harp brittle, and the viola squeaking as if rusted. The tempo increases, the voices slowly, the solo voices slide into unison like the scurry of panicking creatures. The voice of the viola appeals for calm. The flute relaxes into lyrical meanderings, but the harp remains in distress, uttering a distressed jangle. A reassuring rhythm like donkey trot clicking over cobbled surfaces almost soothes before moments of turmoil and rising panic prevail, then subside. The density of solo textures dissolves into unison and harmony and clarity of silence. From that silence, a 7-note motif like a bugler's reveille arises, and we are in an awakened state. The viola speaks these words from the diary of Francisco Tanzer. All borders are like a line drawn with a stick of wood or the heel of a shoe in the sand. All this is artificial. Tomorrow we play another game. So this is a portrait of myself. It's a self-portrait. That's self-portrait. I got that. But not this self, but a self of quite a long time ago. Portrait of a poet. Me, then. Funny, though. I think it's funny. I think it's weird, too. That would never occur to anybody to say about me, but I say it. Weird, man. Okay, it's called The Poet. The hungry mosquito was always his favorite pet. From childhood on, he let them finger his veins and suck and swell as though they had the right. The city he came to seemed like a vacant lot where he studied in silence, cooked for phantom guests, had jobs and tangled love affairs, wrote poems in bed, on the bus, at work, and the laundromat. His friends all said he was the ambitious type. It hurt to feel he might be a parasite the world would suddenly slap. He was dubious, devious, subtle, straightforward and blunt because he decided to trust the whole display, including the probe of his mind, the flush of his charm. He was a mosquito. The world was his arm. This poem, as you'll see, needs no introduction. It's called Composed at the Window of a Bain Avenue Co-op. This is my Toronto poem. The fully empty, beautiful, vanishing day with its sunshine and trees, kids, dogs, and nicely dressed people in their clever cars shining in the sun. Babies and birds chirping their preferences. And even if no one is there to tell you what to do with yourself, you could go on with your breathing. Try moving your fingers in a rhythm over something. Invite a peaceful feeling, like a Buddha sitting in stillness, like rock in sand, more so. Click of rain, now, and thunder. Other sounds are of children thumping and their voices speaking as they do, loud, yelling everything and shrill. It is good to wear yellow in a brightly lit room on Friday at 5, darkening during an autumn thunder shower. Okay. So, Norman, this is our poem now. The title of the poem is Like a Podium, and it references the fact that for about 10 years, a little bit more, I worked as a homeopath. Norman Allen here, was my anatomy teacher. That's where we first met, quite some time ago, under very suspicious, or more suspicious than auspicious, if we remember correctly, right? Anyhow, and what? Ania, yeah, I forget about it. Anyways, the thing about, I liked homeopathy because I had the urge to heal people. I'd been a teacher all my life, so I helped people a lot. But I was hoping I could take it another step and actually heal people, mentally, physically, whatever. And also I liked homeopathy because I knew nothing about science and I could study science. But mostly it's because the study of homeopathy brings out the poet in oneself. For this reason, if you know, is that homeopathy looks at the qualities in substances, whether it's vegetable, animal, mineral, the psychological qualities, like a rock is hard and water is watery and fire is hot, and you will sort of apply those, but in many, many, many subtle ways to your patient to try and find out what that person's character, actually their constitution, how they're actually made and how they've developed, and then you try and find something in the natural kingdom that will and that would help. So, the poem I'm going to read is Lycopodium. Lycopodium is a moss, and it makes the remedy Lycopodium. And some of the sort of basic features of Lycopodium are, it was once a tall tree and it became a moss. So it's a survivor. But if you're the kind of person who has like huge expectations, and then you lose your confidence, and become like with the worms, lycopodium could be your remedy. If you're a person who, you're very fiery and ambitious, and you suddenly, again, lose your nerve, and you become very cool and calm and withdrawn, lycopodium could be your remedy. It works like that. Whether any of this is true, or whether it works, is a whole other matter, scientifically, one way or another. But I had some success with it, and I wrote this poem. And this is all you're going to get. Lycopodium. Lycopodium, related to mosses and ferns, but in a class of its own, is one of the oldest plants on Earth. A tall tree once, it devolved downward to survive. In dry forests, dry heaths, and stony mountain pastures almost everywhere in northern parts of Europe, Asia, and America. This low, perennial evergreen appears as a tall moss, creeping shyly along the ground, throwing out long, struggling stems, so dry and thin they support themselves by extending fibers down at intervals like legs that grip the earth with root after root shaped like wolf's paw, lycopodium, whose prostrate creeping branches erect aerial stems bearing fruit arranged under smooth leaves of a light green color resembling club-shaped spikes, from which the English make the name club moss. After 6 to 7 years, the fruit mature that have, in place of seeds, spores, hard-shelled pollen that can be shaken out or beaten out of the dried plant in autumn and sieved and gathered as a mobile yellowish powder, smooth to the touch and resembling dust. Inodorous, insipid, inert, waterproof powder that stinks when boiled and burns with a roaring, hissing sound as the oil hidden in the spore becomes inflamed. Lycopodium, your signature is this dry, lifeless spore concealing spectacular oil. Lycopodium above, leaf-shaped like lamb's tail. Below, root like wolf's paw. Lycopodium, shy creeper of the barrens, arrogant victor, fittest of survivors. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to read the. This is the title poem of the book. It's called Home Was Elsewhere. I'm 2 wives and 3 children down the road and moving still, this time through Montana, tailing a caravan of young husbands puffing pipes, their wives beside them swelling in belly and breast like these lightly powdered badland hills scarfed in mist through which the sun at 10 o'clock intends to shine. Beside me is a woman, not married and not mine, belly sick and sleeping on the car seat, dreaming of bad food and babies. Wyoming, and sun commands the blue big sky. Brown desert earth drinks up melted snow. Locust-headed pumps drink oil. And the road home to Boulder 8 hours away, the radio says, will have a snowy end, like the gauze-wrapped setsu stick we used to scrape the rice bowls clean during karaoke. 90 minutes to Cheyenne. The woman has woken twice to say, "Are you all right?" Scrub pines on powdered buttes, first seen freshly, then like Chinese paintings. Plowed land and cattle, sunset pink clouds, bird's egg blue sky. I notice I see everything twice. The second look, a long tomb like these ragged mountains to the west. The silence suits me, though there may be singing at the end. Thank you.
Stan Fefferman, everyone. Be sure to pick up his forthcoming book. We're going to take a very short break. Some wonderful snacks over there. We're going to get some more chairs as well for those people who need them. Let's do that.